look how everything is connected, right? If you wouldn't have that certification, you wouldn't be panicking or screaming or yelling for help because you wouldn't know what to do immediately. Like, okay, you're choking. I know the technique. Let's apply it.
Have you ever lost a great opportunity or faced a terrible tragedy because of procrastination? Today, we will be talking about how to overcome procrastination, and I'll be sharing how I almost lost my toddler because of that. My name is Kirssy Bautista, and I'm here with Feliberto Feliz. We will be diving in this very important topic.
Let's get started, Kirsi. Tell me about your experience. I would like to hear from you firsthand what were the consequences or potential consequences of procrastinating.
A few years ago, I started writing down my goals because I wanted to keep track of the things I wanted to do. And a few days ago, I realized that there was a very important goal that I had wrote down back in February 2022, but I never did it. And that almost cost me the life of my child, my 5-year-old boy. Back in February, I wrote down complete a CPR course, and I never did it, Feliberto. I got so distracted with other things, I never did it.
Wow.
Little did I know that God had put that in my heart, like to do that, right? So that I could have the opportunity of saving my child a year and a half later. Unfortunately, because of procrastination, I almost lost him.
So you were almost like pretty much always postponing that goal of completing the CPR certification.
Yes,
And
yes.
but why? What was the reason why it didn't get started, or how much how did you know how important it was to complete the CPR? Why did you want to do it in the first place?
Oh, that's actually a great question. So we never know, like when something could happen. You want to be prepared. So I wanted to be prepared for whenever something happened. I
Yeah,
have to,
especially as a parent. Yeah.
right, as a mother, right? I wanted to be prepared, but I guess I just let procrastination take over, right? So now I figured out a new system to make my goals happen. So to backtrack a little, so what ended up happening with Josue, we went to an event and the children were eating like ice popsicles, and unfortunately he was running while eating the popsicle. And I was talking to one of his teachers, and he came walking to me, automatically wanted to hit him in the back and make sure that he came out, but it didn't happen. So one of the teachers said, oh my god, he's choking. When I heard that, I panicked. I said, this is actually real, like it's happening. And I didn't know what to do. There were about 40 people around us, and everybody froze. I just started, I panicked. I started crying out, please, someone help. Does anyone know CPR? I was hoping to see a firefighter just come out of the blue, right? But that was not the reality. And as time was going by, I was panicking more and just screaming. And thank God, one of the parents in the area kind of saw me from far, and he ran to us, and then he started helping my child. He did a what they call the Hamlet maneuver, and after a few tries, thanks God that it was like a big block of ice like this that
Wow.
came out. And we were just grateful and relieved that that person was there to save him. But I was very shaken up by this, and
I can imagine.
yeah, yes. And
Wow.
what really did it for me, Feliberto, was that when I was going over my notes, revising my goals to see what I had completed, what I had not completed, when I saw that on
You had
February,
you had
huh?
that as a goal, but you didn't accomplish that.
Yes, when I realized that that was right there, like complete CPR course, I said, "Oh my
If
God!"
you wouldn't done that, right? Like, oh my God, how everything is
Yes,
connected.
yes, I realized I could have lost my child, and that's what I want to share with you, right? This channel is about personal growth and development, and this is what I want to share with you. Whenever you have a goal, you need to put it in your calendar. Like it cannot stay in paper because goals are important, but just as important is putting it in your calendar, setting up a deadline. You have to do that. And not just that, because sometimes we don't have realistic goals. So the idea is that you realize, what is my objective? What are the steps I need to take to make this goal happen?
Very important. Very important. Like to have a planned out, like an outline. I'm gonna do this by the end of whatever month, right? And then you ensure that that goal is accomplished by that time. And I mentioned to all my friends all the time that you always need to have short-term goals and also long-term goals, right? So these are
Yes.
some short-term goals because this is something that you can accomplish easily in a couple of months, you know. But it's good to take it step by step, and that's very important that you emphasize on that because look how everything is connected, right? If you wouldn't have that certification, you wouldn't be panicking or screaming or yelling for help because you wouldn't know what to do immediately. Like, okay, you're choking, I know the technique, let's apply it. Now,
Yeah.
if that wouldn't work, then you get someone else help, right? But you knew exactly uh, the situation you were going through, but you didn't have the preparation, right? Do because you
Right.
were procrastinating for so long and you had a goal written down and you didn't accomplish that. So it's extremely important that when you have goals, you set a timeline to accomplish that. Like you say, I'm gonna do this in this amount of time, and you get it done. Like it's good to have like a checklist. Sometimes people feel really good when they have something written down and they put like a check, like okay, I got this, or you cross it out, like that's it, I'm finito with that. Like I can move on. So that's something very important to know. So,
Yeah.
what is your final thoughts and your final reflection on that experience that you had that you experienced? Being so close to loss. Your your child. So how that make you feel and how you reflect about that for the future.
Yeah. I want to make a distinction between goals and objectives. So a goal is like the big picture, right? Something you want to accomplish. But sometimes that is not realistic and you don't have control over that. So where you really want to focus is in the input objectives, where you have control of, okay, what are the steps I can do? What are the activities I can do to make this goal happen? So what I have learned is I should have, like, if I went back on time, right? I should have, what are my objectives? Okay, I need to research what school, right? Where am I gonna get this certification? And then how much is it to enroll? When do I want to start and when should I be finished? So those are the objectives, those are the activities I control. Those are the things that should go into my calendar to make sure that I do it by then.
In order for you to accomplish the goal.
Yes. So that's like the mindset you should have whenever you have a goal. Okay, yeah, this is the big picture, but what is realistic? What are the steps I can actually follow? How many hours can I put into this? And then you would add it to your calendar. And that would be your mindset. But then, how do you fight yourself? How do you fight the habit of procrastination? Because I have good news for you. You are not a procrastinator. You have the habit of procrastinating, and you can break any habit. So, according to Mel Robbins, she gives us 3 steps, 3 tips on how to fight procrastination. These have been so helpful for me, and I know that they will be helpful for you as well. So,
Uh,
the first
I'm
thing,
curious. I'm curious. Tell me.
you're curious?
Yes.
Yes. So, the first thing to do is to recognize the stress that it causes you to know you got to finish something and you haven't done it, right? Like back in our college times, we know we had that paper and
Yes. We
we
we waited
didn't.
until the last minute.
Yeah, until 11:59 to send it to
Yes,
the
to
teacher,
submit
right?
it. That's crazy.
That causes so much stress that you get distracted. You want to do something else to release that stress, but that just
Yes.
makes it worse. So the first thing is to acknowledge that, like, okay, I'm stressed because of this, because I know it needs to happen. And then once you acknowledge that, you start a countdown from 5 to 1. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Once you do that, you must get up. You cannot just stay there. It's like you, with the countdown, your brain knows that some action is gonna happen after.
Yes. Yes. It's a
Yeah.
trigger.
So
It's a trigger.
yes, it's a trigger. So you need to take advantage of that. And that's what the countdown does for you, but you must get up. Because if you don't get up, you will stay there. So once you get up, you dedicate at least 5 minutes to that task. And chances are you're going to stay there for a little longer. And then that's going to reduce the stress. So that's how you're telling your brain, like, the reward is actually to work on the task, not to put
Yes.
it away.
Very interesting. I kind of like the strategy. It sounds like a system to trick our brain to get our goal accomplished without telling us that we have to finish at that particular time. I mean, like you can get started, but you may be able to finish it without realizing that you wanted to finish it. Like you just
Right.
get it started. Like, and 5 minutes is a good time, honestly, because once you invest like 5 minutes on a task,
Hmm.
you know, like if you are engaged into doing it and you don't want to stop, like you don't want to stop doing something else, like, oh, I want to do this now. No, no, you are in this task and you will definitely spend more than 5 minutes, and perhaps you can
Yeah.
accomplish half or maybe the whole task that you had in mind. So that's a good strategy. That's really interesting.
Yeah.
I really
And
like it.
yeah, and time is never on your side. So starting earlier is always better.
Yes, definitely, definitely. To leave it to the last is not it's no good. That feeling is no good at the end. Anyways, rushing. Well,
Yeah.
Kirsi, I really like the story. It's a very touching experience that you had, and how we can transform that to make sure that we help others, and so that they can listen to your story and ensure that it doesn't happen to them because of
Yeah.
procrastinating. You can cause so much damage in your life. And then if you are not like that, if you have a strategy in place, then you can definitely change that habit and break that circle. Thank you very much, Kirsi, for sharing your experience. Let's remind our viewers to please subscribe to our channels and make sure that you share this content with other people so that they know and they can learn from our experiences. You have any final comments, Kirsi?
Let's get our CPR certifications, people.
Yes, pretty easy, pretty easy.
And yeah, and let's just follow these steps to fight procrastination because it's really one of our worst enemies.
It is. Thank you, Kirsi. Thank you for sharing your experience. Thank you, everybody.